back to another episode of That Tribute Band Show. I am your host, Eddie Payne, and today is episode number 10. We are sitting down with the Sidecars Band, a tribute to Cars. And I have with me Joe. How are you, Joe?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So what instrument do you play? What part do you play in the Cars Band?
So I'm the band leader of the Sidecars Band, a tribute to the Cars, and I do the rhythm guitar parts, and I model those after the part of Rick Ocasek, and I also sing the lead vocals. So primarily I'm doing the lead vocals for most of the songs for both the Ben Orr songs and the Rick Ocasek songs.
Awesome. How long have you guys been doing this tribute?
We've been doing it for about 6 years. But really have just been putting it out there within the last year.
Okay, so y'all are pretty much staying right around the area locally, or are you branching off into different locations?
We're definitely branching off. We've been taking some dates this past summer. Like we did Rhode Island, we did Massachusetts, we did New York, we did New Jersey, we did Connecticut. And then parts of Long Island, we went out to Long Island a couple times. And we're actually going to be going to Virginia on October 20th in a couple weeks from now and doing a show in Falls Church.
Awesome. That's right down the road from me, about an hour and a half or so. Maybe I'll try to get up that way if I don't have a gig myself.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So what are some of you guys' influences other than the Cars? Do you have any other genres, or do you kind of stick to that one genre?
Well, our musicians are made up of a pretty wide variety of interests, like as far as what their musical influences have been throughout their musical careers. We have actually 8 professional working musicians in this project that kind of rotate. I run 2 rehearsals a week. And, these guys are all like rock influence. Some even have some jazz influence, and ranging anywhere from like the 50s all the way through today. They're kind of very diverse in their musical skills and their sounds and everything.
Right on. That makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? Sure.
Yeah. Cause we also do like a lot of private parties and corporate events. They just want a variety of music, and it allows us an opportunity to not only play the Cars music, to as close to the record as possible, but we also offer, timeless hits, from other artists within the genre, similar genres like the synth pop genre, new wave, pop rock from like the 70s and 80s. So it makes it really cool that we can dive into some of those similar songs from the era, the early MTV days,
Absolutely. Have you ever met anybody from the band or had any feedback, good or bad, from anyone in the Cars?
You know what? I was able to, and I try to go see, I try to go see Greg Hawkes. Greg Hawkes plays with the band called Eddie Japan. He helped them produce and record a song on their album. This is a Boston-based band. Again, the band name is Eddie Japan, and Greg Hawkes is actually doing these little mini tours with them. They're playing shows here and there, like maybe 1 or 2 shows a month in the Northeast. And I was able to catch him at a club called Daryl's House, in Pawling, New York. And I saw him there in May, and he was so friendly and just like supportive of the fact that I'm out there playing his music, and to me, like, I'm just a really big Cars fan promoting, their music and through live performance, which is what I love to do. I love performing, and, it's really my favorite thing to do in this world. And the fact that I get to do it with Cars music, with like-minded musicians, he was actually very supportive of that, and I was taken back by that. I thought that was really cool.
That's pretty awesome. How well received are you from the venues and other Cars fans?
We've been picking up some momentum as of lately. We had a very busy summer. We've been playing in the Northeast primarily, and the Cars, as you probably know, they're a Boston-based band. They really made it big starting out in Boston, and the Rhode Island area is very, very receptive to the Cars. the Massachusetts area. We have a show coming up on October 14th in Worcester, Massachusetts, which isn't that far from Boston. And we've gotten a lot of response on our Facebook ads for this event, and we think it's going to be a big hit that night. But the Cars music is so popular, and it's there's so many hits, so people, they may not even realize that they know the song was by the Cars. They'd be like, oh yeah, I know that song, but they didn't realize it was by the Cars. A lot of the times it's funny, but a lot of people are Cars fans and they don't know it.
Yeah, they have a lot of hits, and I'm actually in an '80s tribute myself, and this lineup doesn't have a Cars tribute in our set, so I'm trying to figure out what's like some of the bigger hits that they had. We had like the very first lineup that we did Just What I Needed. That actually came out in '79, so I need to try to go up a few years into the '80s and try to grab something that's fun and cool to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's some major hits from the Heartbeat City album that was really big when MTV started with the concept videos. I mean, the Cars pioneered, the concept video with a video like You Might Think. You Might Think would be a great song for you to do off of Heartbeat City. I believe that was '84 that album came out, and that music video was so big it won the first ever Video of the Year award. When MTV had their first ever VMAs, it actually beat out Michael Jackson Thriller as Video of the Year, which, some people like frowned upon that. Eddie Murphy gave the award out. He wasn't very happy about that. It's kind of funny. You can watch it on YouTube. I was born in '87, so I get to see all this stuff on YouTube myself.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool video.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest crowd you think you've played to?
At this point, I believe it was somewhere around 700 people. It was a Friday night barbecue, a concert series at a venue that's in our area, and they have an established following at this venue for people that come out. They enjoy a really good barbecue and live music under the stars at a golf course, actually, in a nice setting. And we were fortunate to get on that bill with a Bon Jovi tribute. And we teamed up with them, and we co-headlined the show, and we put it out there, and it was really great. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Let's see here. So this is something that I struggle with, being in multiple tribute bands. There seems to be a lot of competition as far as booking bands are concerned. So I know there's some venues that won't book, say, for instance, if there's another Cars tribute within like a couple hours of you guys and you're coming down this way, and they're already booking a Cars tribute band, they won't book you guys because they're not necessarily exclusive, but they like to have just one Cars tribute. Do you guys deal with any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a couple of big players out there in the Northeast and up and down the coast, and it's other bands that we're kind of sized up against in the club scene, in the theater world, and it's tough. It's tough to break through. I've experienced that. I mean, we're a fairly new organization, in regards to getting out there and playing clubs and theaters. We've been doing private events for a while and kind of sticking to those because they tend to be more lucrative, and they help us kind of stabilize the production and get everybody the compensation that they need for a lot of time that they put into it. But we really want to get out there and just start promoting the music and being a part of that. And it's been tough, it's definitely been a challenge, but it really just takes relentless follow up and being professional when you contact the booking agents, having dates available, knowing your calendar is really helpful. If you send them dates, asking for availables, that's helpful. And having decent promo content, which is something that we are looking to focus on and improving, so that we can be more competitive and get more opportunities. But yeah, I mean, to go back to your quite kind of diverted a little bit, but it's tough to break through, but there's some venues, if you have a good enough product, and if you're offering it at a lesser price too, I mean, some buyers will give you a chance regardless of the fact that they're working with another tribute band already. They might be willing to work with you. Some might not. It depends.
Yeah, we actually have a venue here in town that books the same tribute that we're in, and we're lucky enough to be able to play that place as well. They're happy to have us. They love us there. They don't mind having another tribute come in town. If they're long touring tributes, they're going to have their foot in the door way faster than somebody who's only been doing it for 5 or 6 years, who hasn't really broken the market yet. And another thing too is, speaking of markets, it might be a good idea to try to break into some markets that don't have tribute bands or don't have a certain tribute bands. And they're kind of like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And that's what I've been focusing on myself.
Yeah. It definitely, if you're not in an oversaturated market, you should find yourself with more opportunities for sure. And you can seize them. Of course, there'll be certainly be some travel involved and stuff. And obviously it's got to make sense because, we all love doing this, and, it's about, having fun and playing the music that you love and promoting it and getting it out there. But, you got to make sense of it financially too, because it costs a lot to put into this whole thing, between rehearsal time and equipment and promotion and marketing expense. I mean, my marketing expense is huge. And you have to be, because it's so competitive. Promoting, the last thing you want to do is go into a venue and not sell tickets, so you got to contribute to that. I think it's a big thing, rather than just relying on the venue to do it. And I think some bands kind of do that, and then they fail, and then they even set other bands up for failure too, because if they're not doing their part and promoting, and they're just going into a market and not doing their job, and getting the word out there, then, that venue might not want to work with another Cars tribute band because the last one didn't do what they were supposed to do, so that's another thing. Other bands can burn venue bridges for you. So you got to, it's a challenge too,
Yeah, that's a good transition into my next question here. Along with that, what else do you think it takes to make a great tribute band?
I really think it's focusing on the music and playing it the way people remember it. The performance is everything. One thing about the Cars kind of get a bad rap for performance. They had some pretty bad write-ups in their career about their stage presence and their performance being kind of lackluster and not exciting. I think there's something to say about that, in the sense that, like, that new wave, and that kind of scene at the time, it was kind of cool to be laid back and not too, like, out front. They were very well dressed. So I think, like, when you're trying to put on a tribute act, I think it's important to emulate the artist as best as possible, but also give the audience what they want or what they missed out on. Maybe, like in this case, the Cars, like, we don't really stand up there and look too cool for school, like kind of like they did. We put more energy and more excitement into our show, because I think that's part of entertaining. And if you put on a good show, I think that's where really counts too. So again, go back. I always divert. I talk too much, but to go back to your question, focusing on the music, playing the music as it's remembered, and putting on a good show, entertaining them.
So what do you think is your favorite Cars song to play?
It's so hard because I love them all. I really do. I truly do. Like the first album, man, the self-titled is like a greatest hits album in itself. I was bummed out at my band because one of the first gigs we did, we wanted to do the whole album, and these guys didn't let me do the song "I'm in Touch with Your World." They didn't want to do it. They thought it was too quirky and too awkward. But I think that song is so awesome. But I guess my favorite song to play is probably "It's Not the Night" off of the Heartbeat City album. Love that one. My band differs from me on that, but whatever, it's okay. I am the leader of the band, so I get to sing some songs they don't want to play sometimes.
Yeah, I'm actually not too familiar with. I actually grew up in kind of like in the rural area of outskirts of Richmond, Virginia, out in a town called Beaver Dam. So we didn't have a whole lot. I mean, we had your basic top 40 stations and country and R&B stations. So I didn't really hear a lot of the B-sides and the deep cuts and stuff. So when we started this, I'm actually in an AC/DC tribute band. Aside from like your typical Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long, Highway to Hell stuff, I didn't know a lot of those when we started this band. And it's like I had to go back and actually learn all these songs. And now some of the deeper cuts are some of my favorites. Back in Black, what album is that? It's like they had way better hits than some of the ones that were on Back in Black. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like Back in Black. But, to some of the newcomers, they're in the same position now that I was in, back in the 80s. All you hear is Back in Black or Highway to Hell or, the popular hits. But yeah, it's that's one thing you gotta try to do is, you gotta bring the crowd what they want. You gotta bring them, sure. Whether there's going to be that one guy that bought the album when it first came out and sat in his room and listened to every single song, and then he goes to a show to see a tribute band. He's like, they didn't play half the songs on this album. What's the matter with those people?
Yeah, you come across the super fans, and you got to love them because I love their opinion after the show. The first thing I do is find the super fan and like I want to talk to them and get their opinion about what they thought, because to me that means a lot. Yeah, I mean, diving into the catalog and really, learning their music is part of this, and obviously you want to play the hits. People want to hear the hits. And in the case of the Cars, there's so many hits. I mean, the greatest hits compilation that came out, I think it was, I don't know if it was in the 2000s, maybe early 2000s. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken there. But I only know is I bought this album when I was in high school from like an FYE music store. It was a CD. And I used to drive around in my car listening to this Cars Greatest Hits album. And there's like 20-something hits on that album. And these are all like, major hits, Billboard charting hits. So, your show is like 90 minutes plus, you got some storytelling, you got some talking in between, you're not going to get around to every one of these songs, that people want to hear on the album. You could play that. You could definitely deliver, what the majority of people want to hear and play all those hits, but you want to throw some deep cuts in there for the diehards. I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many tribute bands out there. Are there any that you're into besides yourselves?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Badfish Sublime Tribute. They are like one of the original bands that like, showed you can tour the country promoting your favorite music, playing as a tribute band, earn a living doing it and just develop a huge following and have fun, and play that, that rock and roll life, which is cool. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think they're a phenomenal tribute to the Chili Peppers, which is great. It's tough. It's expensive to see some of these bands in concert, so it's a nice alternative being able to go see a tribute band that is really good, and puts a lot of work into it, into the visual and into the playing of the songs. Almost Queen, I think they're phenomenal. I mean, I could go on. There's so many good bands and so much good talent out there. Even like, I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. I mean, Best Friend's Girl, the Cars tribute, Carpool, the Cars tribute, great bands out there playing the same music as me. And I've seen Best Friend's Girl show. I love their show. I saw their show, I guess, a year before I really started getting my head heavy into my band, and it kind of inspired me as, so yeah, it's all good. I mean, like like I said, there's so much talent out there and there's so many good bands. I try to, when I'm not gigging, I try to go see, as many bands as possible, tribute bands included,
Yeah, all those bands you mentioned, Badfish and the Red Knots, they come down here all the time to Virginia, probably at least once a year.
Sure.
Have you ever played any gigs with any national bands, signed bands?
No, we haven't been fortunate enough to get on a bill yet with any nationals. And we played, venues that have had nationals, but we had none on the same bill. So we're hoping to. I mean, we'd love to. We'd aspire to be like, on the same bill as a big '80s, band or something like that. Nothing's really coming to mind right now. But I'm just saying it would be cool.
Do you have any other musical projects that you're involved in when you're not playing the Cars?
Every Wednesday night I rehearse for my Chris Cornell tribute project, so I'm working on that.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I sing in that project, and we just got a bass player that we're looking for forever, and he's super tech savvy, and we're working out a lot of things for this. This is really like a show. We got we have props and lights and smoke and all sorts of effects built into it. Playing to a click, flying in some background vocals here and there just to fatten it up. We're really putting a lot into the show, and I'm looking forward to launching that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've been working on it for about 3 years. So when we're just waiting until it's perfect, and then when it is, we're hoping to jump right into the big time. And because I think there's a desire that '90s stuff is really coming back hard. I think in the tribute market for sure. And Chris Cornell is a major loss to the music world, and we want to honor his music. Unfortunately, like I've been singing his stuff for years, and I practice it regularly, and I think I do a pretty good job of capturing his tone. And I'm growing my hair out really long too for this one. So we're gonna go all out with it, and
get the Jesus look going on.
yeah, Jesus Christ pose.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually we had a Chris Cornell tribute here in Richmond for a little while. They did I think they did 2 years, and one of my tributes did a couple shows with them, and I don't think they are doing anything. They're not actively together or looking, but if they would probably do a show if people would ask them to.
Yeah, I mean, it's that you left behind such a legacy, such an amazing eclectic songbook, between Temple of the Dog, Soundgarden, and Audio Slave, and his solo work. I mean, so many great songs, so much great songwriting and stories, and I can't wait to get out there and give it to the audience, and give them what they want to hear. It's going to be great.
That's awesome. Is there something that you prepare yourselves for the gig right before you walk out on stage? Do you do vocal exercises or take shots or do group high fives and all that jazz?
Personally, I'm on the wagon since last April, so I'm not doing shots. The guys might indulge, but not me.
I gotcha.
But you know what? We just like to just kind of we go over the set, and we go over the transitions and make sure that everybody remembers the transitional points, and we run through the songs, and anything that maybe stands out that might be particularly tricky about the song, we talk about it. We huddle up and put our arms around each other like this and kind of have some fun,
Yeah.
Do like a little cheer, get pumped up for the gig, because that's what we love to do. We just love to perform, and what's better doing it than doing it with the music you love,
I know we talked a little bit about this before already, but what would you say to some up-and-coming tributes or people who are wanting to start tribute bands? Any words of wisdom?
Just go after it. Don't give up. Just put your time into making your project great, making it sound great, making it look great. Work, and also make sure you're getting in bed with the right minds, and surrounding yourself with the right minds. Don't waste your time, fighting, with people. And if they're not with the vision, if you're a band leader, for instance, and you have a vision, make sure you clearly state that vision. Be open and honest with everybody that comes into your project from day one, and make sure you communicate it and make sure that they're on board with it. Otherwise there's no reason to waste your time or anybody else's. Because you need like minds around you, people that want the same thing. You need that shared goal, and you want people to be a part of it. It's a team. You can't do it without your team. It's so you got to make sure everybody truly wants to be a part of that team, and then just go after it. It's very competitive, but put everything you got into it. If this is what you want to do it all the way, or don't do it at all. That's kind of like how I feel.
Exactly. Go big or go home, right?
That's it, man.
I got one last question here, Joe. Is there anything that you want to say to all the Cars fans watching right now, or any of the fans of your band?
Just get those engines revved up, because we're coming for you. We're gonna be bringing the music that you love, and we hope you can come out and enjoy it with us and support us and celebrate the music of the Cars with some really big Cars fans. And we know you are too. So we just hope you come out and check us out. Follow us at atributetothecars.com. You can subscribe to our email. Actually, everybody this month, any subscriber that comes to our email page, we're going to be donating $1 for every subscriber to the Pancreatic Cancer Research Fund in the memory of Benjamin Orr. He was the bass player of the Cars who passed away from pancreatic cancer in the early 2000s, and we want to contribute to that. So if you guys help us, you follow our page, we're gonna donate some money to that.
That's awesome, and I'll actually leave all of the links for you guys down in the description, so everybody can find you guys, send you emails, and chit chat or whatever they need to do with you guys. Joe, I appreciate you being on the show tonight, and this is episode 10, so yay for me. I'm still climbing out of the cellar trying to get this channel built up, and I'm glad that you were able to take the time to add your contribution to it.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
hopefully
definitely.
We each other sometime.
And I'll talk to you for a bit off the camera here too. Yeah. But for all of those of you watching out there, if you're in a tribute band and you want to be on the show, send me an email to thattributebandshow@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook on the same handle. I'm Eddie Payne, and thanks for joining me on That Tribute Band Show.